Chapter 106, Suanan. When Suanan came out of the dorm, she bumped into Suzihan. She was confused. How did Suzihan know which dormitory she lived in? Recently, it had been really lively, as Mu Jinyu first ran over to stop her from leaving and told her that he was willing to break the engagement with Suzihan. She didn't care about her relationship with other men. In the end, she beat him up before driving him away. Suzihan didn't come because she wanted to be beaten up by her. Right? Suanan looked at Suzihan in disdain. Since she was here to look for her, then she wouldn't be polite. Seeing the smile on Suanan's face, Suzihan's face was filled with anger. Suanan, I'm here to send you the invitation. Suzihan endured her anger in her heart, revealing a fake smile, and said to Suanan. How could Suanan not see through the falsity of Suzihan's smile, and even more so the hatred in her eyes? Congratulations. Suanan accepted the invitation with a smile. Seeing Suanan receive the invitation with a smile all over her face, Suzihan was startled for a moment, but after that she lost her composure. She thought about how Mu Jinyu had carried her on his back and come to find Suanan. Furthermore, Mu Jinyu had even thought about taking Suanan as his lover in the future. Suanan was truly shameless. Suanan, you are truly shameless, Suzihan said coldly. Suanan looked at her, and in 3 seconds, Suzihan revealed her true face. Suzihan didn't say why she wanted to see her, but Suanan was clear that it wasn't as simple as an invitation. It had something to do with Mu Jinyu coming to find her 2 days ago. Sigh. She didn't like Mu Jinyu from the start. Why did he have to be such a treasure? It was not enough to be a treasure, but she still treated Mu Jinyu as if she loved him dearly. How was this Mu Jinyu worthy of his love? Did he look like Gumo Cheng was handsome, or did he have Gumo Cheng's eye? Suzihan was also a person who was unable to remain calm. It was similar to when she first saw Suzihan and Mu Jinyu rolling in the bed. In the future, if Mu Jinyu went out to cheat, Suzihan would definitely cut that place off with a blade. Suanan and Suzihan's beautiful, married life was something that Suanan was really looking forward to. Suanan, you little slut, behind my back, take brother Jinyu away. Just as Suanan was fantasizing about Suzihan's married life, Suzihan, who was being treated coldly, scolded at her. Suanan glared at her. Suzihan, it was your brother Jinyu who came looking for me. We'll talk about it later, but you first hooked up with my ex-fiancé behind my back. Suanan's words had a completely different meaning in her ears. Suzihan firmly believed that Suanan loved her, and she tried every means possible to take away from her. The more Suanan explained, the more she felt that Suanan was purposely retreating so that she wouldn't forget about her. Suanan, with your little tricks, brother Jinyu will not fall for it, Suzihan said in a stern voice. She purposely spoke out loudly, summoning all the students nearby, letting them see how shameless Suanan was, making them lose all face and stay at school. You're too shameless, snatching away your brother-in-law. Suanan felt pain in her head. It was really funny. Mu Jinyu was her fiancé before. She was the one who didn't want to kick him. Even if Suzihan gave it back to her now, she wouldn't want it. Suzihan, you have said enough, Suanan asked indifferently. Suzihan thought that Suanan was afraid of her, and she laughed proudly. Anan, brother Jinyu is about to become my husband. Don't even think about being his lover. Don't want to. I don't want to at all, Suanan said in disdain. Was she blind, or was she crazy to want to be Mu Jinyu's lover? Are you going or not? Suanan said. Seeing that Suanan pretended not to be interested in Mu Jinyu, Suzihan was annoyed. In her hands was the picture of Suanan and Mu Jinyu holding hands. Suanan, what do you think will happen if I show this to Gumo Cheng? Suzihan brought out the photo that someone else sent to her, showing it to Suanan. She went to the hospital to see Mu Jinyu, and when she heard what Mu Jinyu had said at the ward's door, she received this photo. She thought that Suanan had gone and snatched big brother Jinyu away, which was why she wanted to raise Suanan as a lover. Suanan wanted to be Jinyu's lover, she was dreaming. In the picture, Suanan and Mu Jinyu were holding hands, but didn't she see her angry gaze? She was forcefully grabbed by Mu Jinyu. Why did Suzihan not receive the photo of her kicking Mu Jinyu? That photo was truly interesting. Send it, Suanan said generously, since she had seen the situation that day. She was originally afraid that Gumo Cheng would think that she was rude when she attacked him, so he didn't say anything more. Instead, he pampered her even more. You. Suanan's indifference made Suzihan extremely angry. Looking at Suzihan's angry face, Suanan thought that throwing the piece of candy that was Suzihan was a bit troublesome. Thinking about it, Suanan decided to make the first move. Suanan took out her phone and made a call. When Suzihan took out her phone to make a call, she immediately asked, Are you going to call brother Jinyu? I'm telling you, it's useless even if you call him. He won't believe you. Suanan looked at the angry Suzihan in disdain. She would not fight with a trash like Mu Jinyu. She was calling Suhua, who had received financial support from Gumo Cheng and was very good to her. He was afraid that she had not been good to him, the financial backer of Mr. Gu. Before the call could even connect, Suzihan panicked and rushed towards her face. Bang! Suzihan was used to being arrogant. She was angered by Suanan, and before she could even hit her, Suanan did not use her phone to block her palm. Father. When Suhua heard that it was her, he thought that something had happened to the Gu family. He immediately asked, Anan, did you make Mr. Gu unhappy? Su Anan knew what Suwa would say. Right? Yes, she said. Before he could finish his words, he heard Suwa's angry voice. What happened to you? A man can't do it. Suwa's words made people want to vomit. If not to chase Suzihan away, Su Anan would not have called him. After the phone went silent, Suwa thought that the rest of the projects in the Sus would require a large amount of funds to be invested. The money that Gumo Cheng gave him was the first payment, so he still needed to rely on Su Anan. Anan, why did you make Mr. Gu unhappy? Suwa asked softly. Su Anan took her phone and looked at Su Zihan and said aggrievedly, Father, it's not that I have displeased Mr. Gu, it's that it's Sister Zihan. Father, Sister Zihan suddenly ran over to say that I snatched Mu Jingyu away. You know, I am now a woman of Mr. Gu. If the things that big Sister Zihan said were to spread to the ears of Mr. Gu, he would definitely be very angry. No matter how bad a man is, he wouldn't tolerate his woman putting on a green hat for him. Suwa felt that Su Anan's words made sense. No man could tolerate her woman cheating. Father, Mr. Gu said that my anger is small because he was angry and harmed Su's project. That is what's important. In Suwa's heart, the heavens and the earth were not as big as his Su's, even to the extent of making him his daughter. Hearing Su Anan's words, Suwa became anxious. Let Zihan answer the phone. After he said that, Su Anan handed the phone over to Su Zihan. Su Zihan pushed her away, feeling wronged and embarrassed. She took the phone and cried towards Suwa, who was on the phone. Daddy, Anan called me. She intentionally started crying on the phone, wanting Suwa to hear that she was being beaten very painfully by Su Anan. Unexpectedly, Suwa did not seem to hear Su Zihan's wronged cry and shouted at her sternly, You go home right now. You are not allowed to find an Anne for me in the future. A man who's about to get married has to do a bunch of random things. Go home. Go home right now. Su Zihan originally wanted to complain to Suwa, but she was scolded by Suwa right after she picked up the phone. She felt wronged. Why wasn't father helping her now? Su Anan took her phone from her hand and asked with a smile, Sister Zihan, can you go home now? Su Zihan clenched her fist. She wanted to go up and hit Su Anan. Su Anan laughed. Big Sister Zihan, if you slap me, when we get home, I might not even be able to give you 10 slaps. Su Zihan thought of Suwa's attitude and thought of how he had been slapped 10 times by Gumo Cheng's men. When she thought of the 10 slaps, her face still hurt. Su Anan, don't you act arrogantly. Su Anan laughed, then opened the invitation card that Su Zihan had given her, looked at the hotel and said, Yeah, Sister Zihan, the hotel you are marrying in is under the name of Gu's. Do you need me to tell Mr. Gu that he will give you a discount? Su Anan, if you have the ability, bring Mr. Gu to attend my wedding. Su Anan sneered at her. If she really brought Gumo Cheng to her wedding, who knows how crazy he would become. All along, Su Zihan and John Mei had thought that they had thrown the worst man in Peace City at her. Gumo Cheng was the best. If they brought Gumo Cheng to attend her wedding, many of their faces would pale in regret. However, since Gumo Cheng didn't want to go, Su Anan wouldn't force him. He was not the tool for her to fight Su Zihan. He was her lover, her husband. Sorry, I don't have the ability. After Su Anan finished speaking, she turned around and walked towards the other direction. Hearing Su Anan's words, the anger in Su Zihan's heart calmed down. She knew that it was impossible for Gumo Cheng to see it, so Su Anan did not dare to bring it out. Su Anan, this slut can't even think about being blissful. She will be ruined by Gumo Cheng for the rest of her life. Chapter 107. After Suwa and Su Zihan finished talking on the phone, he felt that this daughter of hers was too insensible. Recently, Gumo Cheng had invested so much money into the Sus. Why would she go and provoke Su Anan at such a critical juncture? If this matter made Gumo Cheng unhappy, what about his funds? Suwa called Jiang Mei, telling her not to look for trouble with him until Su's made a comeback. Su's is done. It will only benefit you and Zihan and won't harm them, Suwa said straightforwardly. In the end, Suwa could only give Su Anan to the Sus. Surochu was crazy. She was using Su Anan as a tool to make use of her. Therefore, when Su Anan married Gumo Cheng and persuaded him to invest in the Sus, it was all to help Su Zihan. Jiang Mei understood her words. She was smarter and more patient than Su Zihan. I will tell Zihan. It's good that you understand. Suwa answered. He then said, I won't come back for dinner tonight. Then, what time are you coming back? Jiang Mei asked after hearing that Suwa was not going home. Suwa said in a bland voice, I don't know. As he said that, he did not continue speaking with Jiang Mei and hung up. Suwa lied on the reclining chair. He felt that when Gumo Cheng was investing in that project, he should be investing in it as well. He had thought of this way a long time ago, and there was nothing he could do about it. Other than the project that Gumo Cheng was investing in, all other businesses or projects had been terminated for no reason. Some of them even had heavy losses. If he still did not earn money back, the Sus would be finished. Now he decided to put all his money into the project. With Surochu in his hands, he was not afraid of Su Anan escaping, nor was he worried that Gumo Cheng would suddenly withdraw his money. Gumo Cheng told her to wait for him at the school gate at 5 o'clock. Thinking that Gumo Cheng missed her, the corner of Su Anan's mouth raised into a smile. She changed into a beautiful skirt from the dorm room and looked at herself in the mirror again and again. After confirming that she was beautiful, she went out. She missed him after not seeing him for a day, and she missed him very much. When Suanan went down the dormitory, she coincidentally bumped into Suya. Anan, are you going out? Suya greeted Suanan. Suanan ignored her and left through Suya. Suya's eyes turned red as she looked at the direction Suanan left in. She suddenly thought of something and followed Suanan out. Gu Mocheng's black car was parked by the side of the road. When Suanan saw that she had passed by, she opened the car door and walked out, indicating her to go over. A man in his 30s was not old, but in the eyes of a 20-year-old Suanan, he had become an old man. Gu Mocheng leaned on the door of the car as he watched Suanan walk past. He only stopped there for a moment, but many girls stopped and stared at him. With his handsome face and elegant temperament, he exuded a mature and luxurious aura. Adding to that pair of deep eyes, the girl couldn't help but stare foolishly at him. Such a handsome man was actually her man. When Suanan thought of this, the corner of her mouth raised into a smile. Her heart was filled with happiness, and she quickened her pace, jogging towards Gu Mocheng. Hubby, have you been waiting long? Suanan said quickly. Gu Mocheng replied with an N, then turned to Suanan and said, Get on. There were quite a few people who noticed the age difference between Suanan and Gu Mocheng. There were always some fancy cars parked in front of the university. There were girls that climbed dragons and became the lovers of rich men. Gu Mocheng was wearing a handmade suit and a black luxury car. It was obvious that he had money. Therefore, all the people that passed by looked at Suanan. Suanan knew what they were looking at her with. They just said that she became a man's mistress for money. She could not stop others from talking or discussing. Moreover, with how good-looking Gu Mocheng was, there were many people who wanted to be his lover. Yes. Suanan smiled as she replied to Gu Mocheng. Just as Gu Mocheng was about to open the door and enter, he heard Suya's voice from behind him. An. This was the second time she had met Suya today. She had not met Suya in the Su family many times before, and even if she had met her, she had not seen her treating him with such warmth. Suanan turned around and stared straight into Gu Mocheng's eyes. She really should let Gu Mocheng hide in the car, not always coming out to attract attention. What's the matter? Suanan asked coldly. Are you going out? I just so happen to be going downtown to buy stuff. Can you give me a lift? Suya said to Suanan, but she kept looking at Gu Mocheng. Suanan was a fool. She couldn't see what was Suya's motive for following her. Allowing Suya to get on the carriage, then giving her the opportunity to get close to Gu Mocheng. Suanan, was not so generous. No. Suanan immediately rejected. The smile on Suya's face dimmed. She wasn't as beautiful as Suanan, but her skin was very white, and her little face revealed a lonely expression. Suzihan often acted weak in front of outsiders, but Suanan always thought that Suya was the soft and weak whitey. There's a bus around here. An. She turned to Gu Mocheng and asked, Sir, can I take a ride with you? Suanan felt even more annoyed when she saw her and Gu Mocheng talking on the phone. Did this Suya think she was a fool? Gu Mocheng, who was beside her, clearly felt Suanan's displeasure. He lightly glanced at Suya, who was in front of him, and said, Let's go. Seeing that Suanan did not allow her to take a taxi, she followed. An, is he yours? Suya did not say anything. Suanan knew what she meant. Suya knew from Suzihan and Jianmei that she had found a lover outside because she was unsatisfied to follow Gu Mocheng. An, is he your lover? Suanan guessed that Suya's original words were these. When Suya said this, she did not take her eyes off Gu Mocheng. Suanan did not reply to her. She did not want to give her another chance to get close to Gu Mocheng. Suya must have followed her on purpose, as she wanted to make use of this opportunity to get close to Gu Mocheng. Looking at Suya's expression, one could tell that she was very interested in him. While Suanan was thinking, Gu Mocheng had already sat on the driver's seat. In the carriage, Suanan was upset by Suya. She looked at Gu Mocheng, who was seriously driving, and asked, Is she pretty? Although Suya was not as beautiful as she was pure and beautiful. And the main point was that she was younger than her. What? Gu Mocheng asked. She's my uncle's daughter. Her name is Suya and she's younger than me, Suanan said. Chapter 108. The point was that he was younger than her. Gu Mocheng wasn't very interested in Suya, so he replied indifferently, Oh. Who that girl was had nothing to do with him. She's younger than me, Suanan repeated herself. Gu Mocheng turned his head and looked at her, then continued driving. An, don't think too much. I'm not as bad as you think. Hearing Gu Mocheng's words, Suanan laughed, knowing that he had no interest in Suya. Did he have to like women younger than him? The corner of Suanan's mouth raised into a self-deprecating smile. What kind of person did she think Gu Mocheng was? Thinking about it again, as the Gu family's ruler, what kind of woman hadn't Gu Mocheng seen before? In the past, even when he met women who were prettier than her or Suya, he would not be tempted by them. This meant that Gu Mocheng was not a man who liked women the moment he saw them. Suanan realized that Gu Mocheng's car was driving in the opposite direction from where the Gu family was located. Where are we going? Suanan asked curiously. Aren't we going to the old house? Seeing Suanan was a little scared, Gu Mocheng said, Don't worry. I'm not bringing you back. In the old house, Suanan was afraid of the old lady Gu, mainly because she was afraid that she would boil a big soup for him. But she also missed Gu Zhen's red wine. Gu Mocheng did not immediately tell her, but he replied, "We'll know when we get there." Since Gu Mocheng said so, Suanan would not ask anymore. The car arrived in just a few minutes. Suanan studied the surroundings and realized that they were actually going to the back gate of the school. Suanan was extremely confused. Why did he bring her around? The car drove into the district, where quite a few of the school's 3rd and 4th year students lived. Suanan followed Gu Mocheng in front of a building, thinking to herself, "Is Gu Mocheng bringing me to see a friend? What friend of his lives in the district at the back of the school?" As she was thinking, she had already followed Gu Mocheng into the elevator and arrived at the door. When Suanan opened the door with his key, she became even more confused. "Come in." Gu Mocheng turned and said to the dazed Suanan. When Suanan entered, the house had 1 room, 2 halls, and a study. It was much smaller than the Gu household, and could not even compare to the size of the Gu household's 1st floor. But when Suanan looked at the furnishings inside, she felt that it was really warm. "Anan." When Suanan looked carefully, Gu Mocheng, who was walking behind her, called out to her. She turned around, and Gu Mocheng placed the key into her hands. "Huh?" Suanan did not understand what Gu Mocheng meant. "You don't want to live in a dormitory, so you want to live here?" Suanan looked at Gu Mocheng in puzzlement. Gu Mocheng looked at her bright eyes and thought of the kiss he gave her on her cheek when she got off the car. "Don't you like it here?" he asked. "Of course, I like it. Is this your house?" Since Gu Mocheng had the key to the house should be his. "Yours," Gu Mocheng replied. As he spoke, he walked to the living room sofa and sat down. In the morning, Uncle Chen visited the house near the school. He wanted Suanan to live here by herself, so he would bring his friends over occasionally. "Mine?" Suanan was startled. "Was it bought for her by Gu Mocheng?" "I don't want it." As she thought, she returned the key to Gu Mocheng. It wasn't that Suanan didn't want Gu Mocheng's things, but that she needed to make the distinction between husband and wife so clearly. The black card that Gu Mocheng gave her, she wanted it without any hesitation, but this house was not good enough. "Why?" Gu Mocheng asked. Suanan lowered her head and did not answer Gu Mocheng's question. "Are you planning to come with me in the future and make it up to me for this house?" Suanan thought, raised her head, and said to Gu Mocheng. Gu Mocheng was startled. He did not understand what Suanan meant. "An, what are you thinking?" Suanan looked at Gu Mocheng and explained, "I didn't think too much. In society, before a couple marries, the woman wants the man's house to be hers. This way, when it's time for a divorce, she can guarantee her own rights. I don't need it. You don't need to compensate me with a house." Gu Mocheng did not understand the first part, but he understood the second part. "You think I'm using this house as a parting gift?" Gu Mocheng translated Suanan's words. Suanan nodded her head, indicating that she was right. "Isn't that so?" Gu Mocheng was amused by Suanan. He curled his lips and said, "What are you thinking about in your little brain?" He looked at Suanan's unhappy expression and said, "Come here." He made Suanan sit beside him. Suanan listened very well and sat beside him obediently, repeating what she had said before. "I don't want a house." "Anan, do you think I would be so stingy as to use this house to compensate you?" The parting gift Gu Mocheng wanted to give was more than just a small house. As he spoke, he patted Suanan's head. "Anan, I believe that you will not be left out easily." After saying that, Gu Mocheng pulled her into his embrace. "This villa is for you to live in, and when you're sad, you can come over and hide. When you're happy, I can invite friends to come over to meet you. You need a place of your own." Hearing Gu Mocheng's words, Suanan's eyes began to feel a little sore, especially that, when you're sad, you can come over and hide. Yes, because she was always pissed when she was in the Su family, and since Suwa didn't let her go to the top floor to look for her elder sister, she couldn't hide anywhere, even if she wanted to cry. Gu Mocheng's way of doing things made her feel very warm, and she couldn't help but burrow deeper into Gu Mocheng's embrace. "Hubby," she cried, her eyes watering. Gu Mocheng never thought that his words would make her cry. An, he could only say the most direct words. "In another 2 years, we'll have the certificate." Suanan thought she heard wrong. Was what Gu Mocheng said just now the pass? If they did, they would be an official couple. "When you arrived at the Gu family, I should have taken the proof with you. There were too many things at the beginning," Gu Mocheng said as he looked Suanan in her eyes. "In another 2 years, you'll be 20 years old." Suanan was startled. She thought that Gu Mocheng treating her as his wife was just saying that. Looking at the man in front of her who was 11 years older than her, she secretly made a decision in her heart. She wanted to make Gu Mocheng fall in love with her. That night, Suanan did not return to her dorm. Gu Mocheng said that the principal of Ningcheng University was Gu Zhen's friend, and he immediately gave Suanan a call. Suanan slept in her own room as she looked at Gu Mocheng, who was washing fruits for her, in the kitchen. Chapter 109. He didn't know what great things he had done in his previous life, but now he had obtained such a good husband. They called for takeout at night and slept on the sofa, busy with their own things. When it was 8 o'clock, Gu Mocheng couldn't sit still anymore. Even if she didn't do anything to him, when he glanced at her from the corner of his eyes, his heart would be disturbed. Thus, he could no longer continue with his work, so he simply carried Su Anan back to his bedroom. Su Anan was looking at her homework when she was suddenly hugged by Gu Mocheng. She was so scared that she hugged his neck. Anan, go to sleep early. Old man is so serious when it comes to being a hooligan. As Su Anan thought about this, she raised her head and forcefully kissed Gu Mocheng's cheeks. Gu Mocheng looked at her with a dark expression. He couldn't wait to carry her to bed and then eat her. After the exercise, Su Anan was so tired that she fell asleep. Gu Mocheng looked at the girl in his arms, unable to sleep. He truly felt that he was a beast, eating a girl who was younger than him and eating her over and over again uncontrollably. Gu Mocheng's phone suddenly lit up. It was Su Anan's phone. Gu Mocheng did not want to read Su Anan's phone number and text message. He only wanted to check the caller ID when he received the message. Han Longyi? Gu Mocheng not only remembered that Han Longyi had called him before, he even asked him for his name. He saw Han Longyi sending her back home. At that time, Han Longyi was even more clear about the matter of Su Anan getting beaten up. At that time, he was furious about what Su Hua had done to Su Anan, so he didn't think too much about how Han Longyi knew about it. If Su Hua knew about Han Longyi's identity, the Zhang family would not still be searching for his whereabouts. From the looks of it, Han Longyi had gone to the Su family as an ordinary doctor. Was he treating a patient? To whom? When Gu Mocheng thought about it and saw that Su Anan did not hide the phone's screen, Han Longyi clearly saw the text message that he sent. Your sister is asleep. We need to take her away from Su family as soon as possible. Elder sister? Gu Mocheng knew that Su Zihan was Su Anan's big sister, but the relationship between Su Anan and her wasn't good. He remembered what Han Longyi had reminded him. Su Anan was afraid of Su Hua and was willing to be used by him because Su Anan had a weakness. Elder sister? A weakness? Gu Mocheng didn't have the heart to lie down, so he went out of his bedroom and took out a cigarette to smoke. He didn't know much about the Su family, but he saw one of them when he asked the assistant to look up Su Anan's information last time. Su Anan had a big sister, whose name was not Su Zihan, but Su Rochu. Regardless of whether it was the birthday banquet or the wedding banquet, Gu Mocheng would never participate in the Peace City's upper-class society banquets, but there was an uninterrupted number of people who wanted to invite him in. The assistant took the invitation from the Mu clan and walked into Gu Mocheng's office. Originally, this kind of invitation should have been sent to the Public Relations Department of Gu's according to the rules and allowed to be arranged by the Public Relations Manager. However, the assistant had looked up the basic information of Su Anan and knew that Su Anan's fiancé was Mu Jinyu. Mr. Gu. The assistant went in and placed the golden red invitation card on Gu Mocheng's desk. Gu Mocheng was standing at the window smoking. In front of him was a gigantic window that had fallen to the ground. He stood at a high place and could clearly see the people and cars on the ground with a single glance. The Mu family has sent an invitation, the assistant added, the wedding invitation for Mu Jinyu and Su Zihan. Hearing the name Mu Jinyu, Gu Mocheng stopped smoking. Xiaoyan had called him before and proudly told him that he had already arranged for someone to beat Mu Jinyu up. The result was that he was satisfied. The person's handsome face had been beaten until it was swollen. Both of their hands had been broken. Leave it, Gu Mocheng said. The assistant guessed right. Mr. Gu had to keep this invitation himself. Teacher is going to his wedding? The assistant asked. Gu Mocheng turned around and looked at the invitation on the table. He did not answer the assistant's question. The assistant was stunned for a moment, then replied, understood. It was a very strange thing. Mu Jinyu didn't know who beat him up. Both of his hands were tied, and his face was bruised and swollen. Just like that, he went to ask Su Zihan for her proof. This certificate wants to take a wedding picture. I wonder what the picture they took is like? Actually, it would be possible for her to retrieve her pass after the feast, but hearing that the female side was very anxious, she insisted on pulling Mu Jinyu to get it. Right? As the assistant was thinking, he heard Gu Mocheng's reply. Just accept the certificate? Gu Mocheng sneered. How about the thing you checked out last time? After hearing Gu Mocheng's reminder, the assistant remembered that Gu Mocheng had asked him to go and look into Su Zihan's parturition, so he said, Su Zihan gave an obstetrician and gynecologist 200,000 yuan and told him to write the list of parturitions for children who could not be protected. After hearing the assistant's words, Gu Mocheng understood even more. In his mind, he thought about Mu Jinyu pestering Su Anan, and how Su Zihan intentionally said that Su Anan pushed him and caused her to miscarry. It was time to deal with them. If they did not count this, if they were left to themselves, they would continue to bully Anan. They felt that Gu Mocheng's woman was much easier to bully. If he didn't do anything for her, how could he be her husband? 2 million. Gu Mocheng smoked his cigarette and said to the assistant, I want that doctor to tell me the truth. One was worth 200,000, while the other was worth 2 million. Everyone would choose this option. All right, the assistant replied. He was not surprised that his master had taken action against Mu Jinyu. In and of itself, the Mr. Gu is someone you've offended, and he won't let you off easy. This was provoking his wife, so he had to protect her. Also, they didn't receive any other guests on their wedding day. Just say that for the sake of Old Man Moo, he specially didn't receive any guests for their sake. Find more reporters and get the media to report more about their marriage. The more people they have to go to on their wedding day, the better. Everyone in the entire Peace City will know about this. When the assistant at the side heard Gu Mo Cheng's explanation, he obviously gave Mu family a lot of face and had him take over Gu's hotel. But looking at Gu Mo Cheng's gloomy face, the assistant felt that Mu Jinyu and Su Zihan's wedding would be very exciting. The Chinese dining room is free for me, and the suite on the top floor. Gu Mo Cheng thought about it, then said, there was no need for him to attend the wedding, but he had to give them a huge gift for An. Su An went back to the Su family to look for her sister. Because Su Zihan's wedding day was almost up, it was very lively there when she walked in. Other than Su Hua's family, second Uncle Su and second Aunt Su were there as well. Last time, Su Zihan and the others went to the Mu family to testify against Su An for pushing her over. As a witness, Su Ya had followed them. Chapter 110. Being able to climb the money tree like Gu Mo Cheng made people jealous. Even if the rumors said that Gu Mo Cheng was ugly in some way, it wouldn't do. When second Aunt Su saw Su Anan, her eyes lit up. She walked up to Su Anan and grabbed her hand and said, Anan, you're really amazing. Su Anan was curious about second Aunt Su's enthusiasm. Second Aunt Su had always praised people who were bad to her, but she would never care about it. She could only pretend to be warm to her because she wanted to reap the benefits from Su Anan. Why is it that even Mr. Gu is different from us? Second Aunt Su said with a smile. Oh. Su Anan understood. It should be Su Ya explaining to second Aunt Su. An, look at how well you're getting married. You don't even have a boyfriend over there. Second Aunt Su smiled as she tried to curry favor with Su Zihan. This kind of tone was usually used in Su Zihan's voice. Su Zihan was immediately unhappy. The reason she asked second Aunt Su's family was to help her prepare for her wedding. When Su Anan returned, they immediately went to fawn on her. What was so special about Su Anan? She gave her that old man only because she didn't want him herself? Humph! Other than being rich, Gu Mo Cheng could not compare to him in any other way. When she thought about Mu Jinyu, Su Zihan smiled proudly at Su Anan. She had already pulled Mu Jinyu's hand to get her proof. Su Anan pestered brother Jinyu once again, but she was the shameless Xiao San. Yaya likes Gu Mo Cheng too? Su Anan laughed, then looked at Su Ya who was behind second Aunt Su. She thought about the look in Su Ya's eyes, and the displeasure in the bottom of her heart. However, Su Anan had to admit that Su Ya had good eyes, and saw through Gu Mo Cheng with a glance. Su Ya and the others didn't know that Gu Mo Cheng was the man who took them away in the hospital. They thought that Gu Mo Cheng was really the same as Su Zihan said, a man who was old and not good at all. Hearing Su Anan's words, second Aunt Su immediately frowned, and an us Yaya do not like Gu Mo Cheng. He's so old. How could he be worthy of us Yaya? Second Aunt Su defended Su Ya and said, the son-in-law she wanted to find must be handsome and rich. The best would be to have a very high status in the Peace City. Hearing second Aunt Su's words, Su Anan pursed her lips and laughed. That's true. Su Ya was younger than her, and she wondered whether Gu Mo Cheng would keep a calm face when she heard that this group of people thought that he was too old for his age. Thinking about Gu Mo Cheng, Su Anan smiled sweetly. How about old? As long as it was good for her, it was fine as long as she liked it. Anan, take a look at whether or not there are any good-looking young masters in the wealthy class beside Gu Mo Cheng. Second Aunt Su said, we Yaya have never been in a relationship before, so it would be best for young master not to think about it. His character must be good as well. Su Zihan could not take listening to second Aunt Su's words any longer. She mocked. Do you think your Su Ya looks like a fairy, or is extremely intelligent? With her dry and flat body, those young masters wouldn't even want to play with her. Su Zihan's words were unpleasant to hear, causing second Aunt Su's face to immediately turn cold. My family's Yaya is good, just you wait. My family's Yaya will marry a man who is better than you sooner or later. Second Aunt Su said, Mu Jinyu is behind Anan's back, messing around with you. He is not a good person. Clapped his hands and praised second Aunt Su's last sentence. What he said was too right. Mu Jinyu was just a piece of scum. When he was with her, he had secretly gotten involved with Su Zihan. Now that he wanted to marry Su Zihan, he came over to look for her. She really wasn't just any trash. She should kick a man like him every time she saw him. What nonsense are you spouting? Hearing second Aunt Su say what Mu Jinyu said, Su Zihan said angrily. Just people like you, Su Ya, aren't even worthy of him. Gu Mo Cheng is compatible with Su Anan. After hearing what Su Zihan had said, Su Anan was stunned. Su Zihan was really too shallow, and did not have any foresight. Dream on, if you want to marry your daughter to a rich family. Su Zihan said angrily. Su Ya's appearance was indeed not as beautiful as Su Anan and Su Zihan's. She was just a whitey flower, but this kind of weak little 100 blossom would sometimes be even more deadly, causing men to have no way of resisting. Su Anan had seen Su Zihan's ignorance long ago, so she didn't want to say anything more. Let them bite each other. She went upstairs to see her sister. Suya looked at Suanan going upstairs. She looked at second Aunt Su, who was arguing with Su Zihan, and followed Suanan up. Suya listened to her mother. Her mother wanted her to marry a rich and powerful young master. She used to think that her life was like this. But when she met that man in the hospital, she fell into depravity. The man looked to be in his 30s, a little older than she was, but the man's mature scent made her sink in at first glance. An. Suya chased after Suanan and called out to her. Suanan turned her head and looked at Suya, who was behind her. She had already been entangled by Suya at school. Why did she keep pestering her after she returned to the Su family? Was Suya a man that was determined to chase after her? In the past, Su Zihan would always have wanted to give Mu Jinyu to her generously, but now it was different. Gumo Cheng was so great, she wouldn't have given Gumo Cheng away like that. What's the matter? Suanan turned her head, thinking that Suya would not bother with her. Anan, have you not returned to school recently? When Suanan asked her about what she wanted to ask, she changed the topic. Ever since Suanan had left with that man, she did not see Suanan return. After asking Suanan's roommates, they joked that Suanan had gone out to live with her boyfriend. Right, Suanan nodded. You wouldn't be worried about me. It's not safe to stay by myself. Suanan saw through Suya's thoughts and said. Suya thought for a moment, then continued. And Anne, isn't living in the academy forbidden? My boyfriend is amazing, Suanan said directly. If a connection is made, then the school will be staying outside. Listening to Suanan's words, that man was also a powerful being. So who was he? Suya really wanted to know everything about that man, including his name and his preferences. But Suanan didn't even give her the chance to get close to that man. Anan, does that man know about the matter between you and Mr. Gu? Suya asked. There was displeasure in her tone. She was angry for that man. That man was so kind, yet Suanan didn't know how to cherish him. I don't think so. Suanan laughed and continued to tease Suya. If he knew, he would definitely be angry at me and probably dump me. As Suanan spoke, she lowered her voice. Yaya, you must not tell that man about the matter between Gumo Cheng and me. Gumo Cheng will dump me sooner or later, so I have to hold on to that man tightly.